Shalisa.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Charissa Vega on behalf of the Canadian Helper Society. I'd like to warmly welcome you to today's session, Kitchener Newcomer Women's Search and Employment Resources. This session is made possible through the generous support of the Corporation of the City of Kitchener. Today's session is designed for newcomer women in the Kitchener region, and we're excited to empower you with job search skills. We'll cover effective online job searching, completing digital job applications, and introduction of LinkedIn. We are delighted to have Dr. Hamed Vahabi, a senior engineer of Giver Nova with over 10 years of training experience, guiding you through these valuable resources. Morning, sir. Dr. Vahabi.
Thank you. Hello again. Let me share the screen. There we go. Can you see my screen now?
So, Doctor, can I ask my question?
Of course, please.
Okay. The difference between AI and Google traditional search, when you are searching in AI, and you said that it is giving lots of resources, articles, and actually, I'm not sure it is a very good idea, because usually when you are searching something, just you want, for example, contact number, you want a link, you want a website, that's it. And when the AI giving you too much article, too much information, and actually it is headache. Usually I'm saying, if I'm asking AI, just talk to me short, especially in Grok. Grok can give you tens of pages of answer for a single very simple question. So I want a link, for example, the Canadian Helpers non-profit website. Grok and most of them explaining, this is the board name, this is what they do. I'm not sure it is a very good idea, because you are just want link or something like that. Yes.
Yeah, two things here. First one is AI search is not developed to replace the Google traditional search. It is something that can help, depends on what we are looking for. Now, the other thing is, as I mentioned, when you're asking something from an AI tool like ChatGPT, Grok, or whatever, you need to be very specific to receive the specific answer you're looking for. If you, for example, say Canadian Helper Society, then like what you said, it starts from history, the board name, whatever they do, everything. But then you need to be very specific. Okay, Canadian Helper Society, I need its phone number, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes when I'm searching for something, I need to write a paragraph to receive kind of to the point answer I'm looking for. Now, sometimes it helps. Like, for example, the other day I was discussing with a friend in a company about a very technical problem, and then we were not able to come up with a conclusion together. So like I said, I wrote a almost half a page in ChatGPT and asked it to help us on that, and it helped. But In cases like what you just mentioned, like if you're looking for a link or for a phone number or something like that, most likely Google traditional method would be much easier to work with because AI tries to give you a content. AI tries to give you a kind of uh, sometimes like what you said, a large text explaining everything related to what you asked, assuming that uh, you were trying to find something related to what it is giving you. But if it is like a one phone number or link or something like that, Google would be much easier because it gives you that specific piece of information because that the keyword is very clear. Like when you say a phone number of Canadian Helper Society, it says, okay, phone number, one keyword, Canadian Helper Society, the next keyword. So it has these two keywords and search on the net and find information about these two keywords, and then it gives you that specific phone number. See what I mean? But if you say the same question, Canadian Helper Society phone number from AI, it is not a very specific question from AI. So it gives you tons of information related to uh, Canadian Helper Society phone number. So yes, I agree. Sometimes it is easier to work with Google to find very specific answer, a link or phone number or whatever. Sometimes we are trying to find kind of larger answer, not just a simple yes or no type of thing. AI may help better. Um, these two could be used, depends on the case, but they're not replacing each other,
Thank you, Doctor.
of course. Any other question? All right. So, hello again. Thanks all for joining our sixth session of Learn to Access Online Services. Today, um, let me go to, sorry. In fact, we are in our session 7 and want to talk about the job search and employment resources. We start from open position at Kitchener, where you can find the open position at Kitchener, and what are the free employment services available in Kitchener for you. And very quickly, we'll start discussing a very important topic of job hunting process in general, not just necessarily at Kitchener. How you could be prepared for finding a job, what is a perfect resume, what uh, uh, what would be a kind of applicant financial expectation and how you can negotiate on that, what would be a kind of effective online job searching process, how to find a job, how to apply for a job, what to do after applying for a job, all these information. Hopefully, we should be able to cover most of them today. Um, and uh, During our discussions, I'll give you some very useful AI tools for each piece of the job hunting process and so on. Last thing is would I would like to have a kind of introduction to LinkedIn, but uh, most likely we would be able to start working on that today. And I'm not sure uh, if someone in our team today would be interested in this kind of detailed information. So we try to cover everything except for this introduction to LinkedIn. But then if you're interested, just let Mr. Shapur and other friends know, and they'll update me on that if you're interested. We'll start our next session with a brief introduction to LinkedIn and then move on. So today I won't cover this introduction to LinkedIn because of the time. Now, the first thing, like I said, is open position at Kitchener. If you're looking for these positions, again, go to our kitchener.ca.com, kitchener.ca, and then we have jobs and volunteering. If you go to this link, then we have all these information available there, job opportunities like summer employment, youth employment, volunteer opportunities, and all about uh, jobs available at Kitchener for you. Okay, so don't need to uh, search too much on jobs rather than just going to this kitchener.ca. One other thing that you might be interested in is working as a lifeguard um, at uh, at Kitchener pools and so on. So if you're interested on that, you may want to take a few courses and pass those courses, get the certificate. For that, you can go to kitchener.ca on this page. You can learn more about uh, what they look for in lifeguards and how to become lifeguard. For that, go to pools and swimming, swimming lessons and programs, and then lifeguarding and leadership. Like I said, there would be some courses and lessons there for you. You need to take them and pass them and get the certificate. And then at that point, you would be able to work as a lifeguard in Kitchener pools if you're interested. These are all uh, uh, jobs available at kitchener.ca are useful um, information I thought for you would be free employment services at Kitchener. There are several local organizations offering free employment services, including Region of Waterloo Employment Ontario. They provide job matching, workshops, resume interview support, and access to job alerts via findyourjob.ca. The other resource is Employ Next, which is from KWB, offers personalized job search support, employer connections, crafting employment plans, and potential funding. The next one is the Working Center Job Search Resource Center, which offers one-on-one job counseling. For example, you want to apply for a job, you have some questions and some details, or you are in the process of interviewing with for a job, and you want to make sure that you are on a right path and well prepared for the interviews and so on, or you received an offer and you want to see how you can negotiate on your offer. All these things, if you need any help, you can ask them for some counseling services. They can help you on, like I said, all those steps, including developing a resume, preparing for interview, and they provide programs like Better Job on our programs through programs like Better Job Ontario. The next resource available is Conestoga College Community Career Center, which offers job search and resume assistance, again, employer connections, training, and funding support. The next one is Ontario Apprenticeship Office, and it is ideal for your exploring the skilled trades. They offer information on apprenticeship programs, pre-apprenticeship training, and placements. And the last one is multicultural and newcomer support. It is specifically developed for newcomers, not limited to, but they have some good uh, services for newcomers. Organizations like Kitchener-Waterloo, Multicultural Center, YMCA Employment Services, and others offer employment support tailored to newcomers. So you can go to their websites and take a closer look at the services they provide and see which one better fits to your need. These are all, like I said, services and positions available for you at Kitchener. But like I said, um, um, the job search process specifically for higher ranked positions are these days are much more complicated. So today I want to discuss more about um, this process of job hunting, how it happens, and what you need to do to be well prepared for that. So the job hunting process starts from a need in a technical team in a company. The technical team in the company uh, needs to add a resource, need to hire someone, so they share a job description. They come up with a job description which explains whatever they need for that specific position, or whatever they need from you to bring to the table. So they came up with a job description and share it with the human resources in the company. They call it HR. The HR team send the advertisement of that open position to their company's website and other platforms like LinkedIn. And then applicants apply for the position, meaning you find that open position on LinkedIn or other platforms and send your resume to the HR. The a recruiter, which is part of the HR team, recruiter receives all resumes for that position. Depends on the uh, company. They may receive more than 100 different resumes for one single position. So what they do is the recruiter, on receiving the resume, they rank those resume and then send the best ones to the technical team. Usually they send the first three resume in their rank in their list to the technical team. So imagine, like, for example, they receive 200 resume, they rank them and then select the first three resume in the list, send those three to the technical team. Now, here's a few tips on this step. Recruiters usually have very limited knowledge about the position, or sometimes they have no knowledge about that position. Okay. So it is tricky, right? Because someone is in charge of selecting resume for a position that he or she has no knowledge about that position. So what they do is they only rank your resume based on comparing your resume with the keywords of the job description. And we'll go into the keywords together today, but it is very important to keep in mind that the way the recruiter works is they go to the job description, find the keywords of the job description, and then look at your resume very quickly, or they say scan your resume and try to see if the keywords of the job description exist in your resume or not. If they find those keywords in your resume, then they would rank your resume based on the number of keywords they found. If none of the keywords of the job description is exist in your resume, they won't select you. So that's tricky. And we'll go into the detail of that later. Now, recruiters have no time to read more than 100 resumes, right? So what they do is they just, like I said, scan. Imagine you send a 1 or 2 page resume to someone who has no knowledge about whatever you try to explain in your resume, and he or she just spend at most 1 or 2 minutes to find the keywords. So it is very tricky. So they just scan your resume very quickly and make decision whether to reject the resume or rank it for further evaluation. Now, some companies use a, a tools called ATS, Applicant Tracking System, which is an AI tool to rank the resume. That AI tool again does the same, tries to find the keywords or kind of synonym of the keyword in your resume. But again, keywords is the key. So it's your responsibility to ensure that your resume looks good. We'll explain what I mean by looks good, and perfectly matches the job description. It is your responsibility. And this is the key. Our friends believe that, okay, I have to send my resume as many as possible every day. They send out their resume for 50 different job positions each day, and after 2 or 3 months, they don't receive any call, and they are confused why. I mean, my resume is not that bad, but why I'm not receiving any call? Why no one is selecting me for further evaluation? Right? This is the problem. The resume is good, but most likely their resume is not does not match any job description. Okay, we'll go into it. But this is the key you have to keep in mind. It is your responsibility to make your resume look good and perfectly matches a job description you're interested in. Now, the next step is the recruiter, once they select you in their shortlist, and then they decide to move forward with you, the recruiters call you as one of the top applicants in the list. And the reason they call you is they just want to first make sure that you are available in the market. You are not hired by other companies. Okay. So they call you to see if you're still in the market. And the next thing they want to know is if you're willing to relocate or not. Okay. Um, and it is important. Sometimes people don't want to move to our uh, places or cities, but they don't notice the location of the company. So the recruiter wants to make sure that you are aware that the company is may be a different city and you need to relocate. So first they want to see if you're available. Next, they want to make sure that you're willing to relocate. And the last thing, which is tricky again, is they want to have an idea about your financial expectation. What do you think about the annual income in their company? Okay. And it is tricky. They ask you very specifically, what is approximately your expectation on your annual income? Now, this is, like I said, tricky because you may have no idea what to say at the point, right? On one side, you want it to be as high as possible. On the other side, you're kind of concerned if you give them a big number, then it would be kind of um, a negative sign for them to move further with you, right? So it is, like I said, it is tricky. What you can do is you can say something like, I'm more interested in finding the right role and team, but I understand the compensation should be competitive. So could you please share the range for this role in your company? Something like this, meaning you're asking them to now one thing is sometimes some companies when they send a kind of uh, ad for an open position into platforms, they specifically mention the range of the annual uh, income. Like for example, they would say between 90K to 120K, something like this. If it is the case, then it is at least much easier for you to make decision what to say here. But if they don't give you any specific range on the payment they have in their mind, then it is tricky. You can ask the recruiter if they can share you something, but regardless whether the recruiter provides a range or not, you should finally give the recruiter your expectation. So it is, like I said, it is tricky. Um, the reason why it is tricky is sometimes, like I said, I mean, you have no idea what to say, and you just try to come up with relatively low number to make sure that they would be willing to move forward with you. But here's the fact: when you give them some number, then you most likely you would see a number very close to that in the offer you receive at the end of the day. So try to be prepared for that question and don't just throw out a random number, either very high or very low would be a problem. Very high, sorry, would probably cancel you in the process. They would decide to move forward with other applicants. If it is very low, then most likely you would see that number in the offer you receive, and then at that point it won't be very easy to negotiate and increase it significantly. So try not to be random. We'll have some I try to give you some more information on what to do here. Now, if you're available and if the expected income is reasonable, then they'll invite you to a different meeting for a technical interview. Okay. And then at that technical interview, one or sometimes two or three different folks in that team join you in a meeting, and then uh, try to understand whether you have a good fit for that open position or not. Now, if the outcome of the uh, technical interview is positive, then you'll receive a written offer, and now it's a good time to negotiate. Sometimes I've seen that people people decided to talk about the financial expectation in a technical interview meeting, which is very awkward because none of those guys in the technical interview has any idea about the about the financial thing that HR considered for that position. You see what I mean? So if you talk about money in the technical interview, that would be a very negative sign that this guy has no idea what he or she is talking, and it is a negative sign. So the time for negotiation to talk about the money is when you receive a written offer. And keep in mind, sometimes you have an interview with a technical team, and they are very positive about that interview. At the end of the interview, you can ask them whether they assumed they liked the interview, they assumed it a kind of positive interview or not, and they are very positive about that interview. But it doesn't mean that you'll receive an offer. It doesn't necessarily mean that since the technical team is happy with the interview, you'll be hired. No, it is not necessarily the case. Because, like I said, I mean, you are one of the applicants that are invited to the interview, there would be at least two other applicants invited as well. So there is a chance that one of those other applicants have a better interview compared to you. Okay, so don't count on that until receiving a written offer. Once you receive the written offer, then you can say, okay, uh, they're strictly thinking about me. Now it is time for me to negotiate on the details of the offer. Okay. So, few questions here is now we know what the process looks like, but these are the few questions. First, what is a perfect resume? Meaning, what does it mean by when I said it should look uh, perfect, should look good, and it should perfectly matches a job description. We'll go into detail of this. The next thing is how to come up with a reasonable salary expectation. Remember, I said it is very tricky. You have to have some idea what to say here. Don't be random. So we'll talk about this in a little bit more detail and see how we can come up with a reasonable salary expectation. And then finally, when you receive an offer, how to start negotiating on that offer. Okay. Now, the first question is the first item. The first question was, what is a perfect resume? And first, let's see how does a perfect resume look like. Okay. Here's an example resume I found online that on this website. Looks good to me. Um, the there are a few things uh, in a resume that you need to consider. First, it should be clean and have a kind of professional layout, meaning use a simple, well-structured format that is easy to scan. If you, I mean, if you look at this resume, you can see that okay, name, uh, contact info, personal summary, very clean and well organized. You can easily find whatever you want with just very simple scan. Okay, here's the education. So if I'm interested in the education level, I can find it here. Here's a list of skills, some work experiences. So well organized. Okay, so try to come up with a well-structured format that can be easy scan. Okay. Now there are a lot of websites out there to help you create a resume. Feel free to use them, but you don't need. I mean, this is a simple, good resume. So as you can see, it is very easy to create a well-structured resume without paying to any website for that. Okay. The next item you need to consider is a clear and readable header. Okay, so start with your name. Add your name. This is the name of the guy, phone number, email address, and uh, for for you if you're a newcomer, or regardless if you're not a Canadian resident, I would leave a note somewhere here, very bold, that you have PR or something like that, okay? Because a lot of companies as are a lot of companies uh, just hire people with PR or have some kind of restriction on residency status of the applicant. So I would leave a bold note somewhere here, like for example, I would start my name on this side and then residency status on the other side, and then the contact info in the next row. Okay. The next thing is a professional summary, whatever you want to call it, a summary. This is a strong professional summary, a very small paragraph. It shouldn't be very large. A very small paragraph which reflects your strengths related to the position you're applying for and makes you stand out. Okay. And we'll uh, hopefully we'll talk a little bit more about what need to be included here. But again, if you go to the job description, find the keywords, uh, and the keyword is not just the skills, hard skills like the software you're familiar with, whatever the equipment you can work with, these type of things. This is part of the story. The second part of the story is soft skill. Like, for example, if you're a good team member or not, if you are familiar with time management or not, if you are a well-organized person or not. These type of soft skill in the resume, in the job description are very important and usually neglected in the resume. Don't underestimate those soft skills. Now, in your professional summary, you need to find the keyword in the job description, both I would call them hard skills and soft skills, and try to come up with a very strong paragraph about yourself, which kind of uh, explains somehow that you have those hard and soft skills, okay, in a very, very strong uh, paragraph, okay, in a very strong text. Now, one thing before moving forward is I want to share with you is there is a very big difference between universities, schools, and companies. In the school or university, they are trying to kind of force you to be the best, okay? Get the best uh, grades, be the best in the team. So let's say they try to kind of um, help you grow as a star, okay, in the class. But the problem is in the companies, they don't look for any star. They don't need you to be a star. Rather, they want you to be a good team member. And there is a big difference. When you try to be a star, you're looking at yourself. You're trying to get the best grade. You're trying to solve the problem the best way yourself. So you're just looking at yourself and your resume, your grades, your project. Everything is about you. But if you are a good team member, you are not just looking at yourself, rather you are trying to see what is best for the team. How we can solve the problem in the best way as a team. How we can grow as a team. Okay? So this is the big difference between university, schools, and companies. Now, in your resume, I saw this problem a lot of the times in the resume we receive in a company. I found that especially for uh, applicants just leaving the university, they try to show that they are the best in their resume. They are the best in the class. They are the best in the university, right? This is not this is not uh, this is not a good resume. This is not a good way to sell yourself to a company. In your resume, you have to show that you're the best as a team member. You're the best person in the team to work with, right? So this is a big difference. Now, um, after this professional summary, and like I said, I mean, in your professional summary, in the work history, in all aspects of your resume, you have to try to show that you're great to work as a team member. It is not just limited to this professional summary. For example, I'm worried about the time, but for example, here you're talking about one of your work experience. You can say, okay, in one bullet point, you can say, okay, uh, I had a project for this course, and it was a tough project, blah, blah, blah. A little bit explanation about the project, and I solved it and got the best grade. Okay. It means that you're trying to sell yourself as a as a star, not as a team member. Sorry. Now, what if I say we were a team of 5 students working on a project. We worked on different aspects of the project and the technical side, and the timing stuff, and we were able to successfully uh, uh, complete the project at the right time and got the best grade in our team. So you're saying that you have this kind of experience, work on a project, wrap up the project in the best way, and you were able to work as a good team member. Okay, these are very different from each other. Being a star or being a team member. Now you have to um wrap up everything about you in one or at most 2 pages. Now, if you're um bachelor or school, you have a school certificate, I would prefer to see only 1 page resume. If you are like, for example, master or PhD, and you have a hard time to shrink it into just 1 page, that would be okay to go to 2 pages. But whether you limit your resume into 1 page or 2 pages, don't waste any space. See, I mean, the entire page is filled. So uh, try to adjust the font number or whatever to make sure that the entire page is filled. I saw that uh, people send a resume. The first page is fully packed. The second page is half written, half is free. That's a bad idea. So 1 or 2 full page, a strong, like I said, professional summary, which reflects your strengths related to the position, and then use clear headings, like, for example, work history or work experience, skills, education, certificates, this type of um, headings, and then don't write a story here. Okay. For example, if you worked in a company for 3 months, don't say, okay, don't write a paragraph. No, just bullet points. Very up to the point, uh, preferably 3 bullet points under each experience would be good. Don't go with 10 different bullet points. No, three, two, three, or four. Three is the best. 3 bullet points under each uh, heading would be ideal. And provide time frame for your education, for work experience, awards, certificates, or whatever, in reverse chronological order. Like you can see here, this guy worked in this company from 2018 until now, and then the next one is from 2013 to 2018, 29 to 2013. Okay, so in a reverse chronological order, um, put the uh, time frame. For education, didn't provide, I don't like it. Preferably provide the time frame for the education as well. Sometimes people want to know that, okay, if, for example, if this guy received his uh, bachelor, for example, in 1999, and then the first job he was hired for the first job in 2009, this 10 years gap, what happened in this 10 years gap? That would be a question. So if you have this kind of problem in your resume and you have no good answer for that, then okay, ignore the time frame for education. But if you don't have this kind of gap, then preferably include time frame for education as well. Education certificate, award, whatever you receive. And then list your achievement and relevant skills in the context of projects with measurable outcome. Like I said, I can say here, I can say, okay, I've worked on a project as a team, for example, as a team of 5 engineers. We work on a project, a very tough project, and I explain a little bit about the project. That's okay. But the first question is, okay, you worked on a project, but what happened then? Were you successful in completing the project? Were you failed? What happened? Okay, so measurable outcome. If you have some numbers, for example, we worked on a project to design and manufacture an equipment for blah blah blah. And a team of 10 engineers, we designed it in, like, for example, 6 months, and then manufactured the equipment and for example 4 months, and complete the drawings, as-built drawings, and the entire project in total in a year, and successfully completed the entire project and delivered the product to this company, and received very well from the customer. So some numbers, some measurable outcomes is available. People understand that, okay, they worked on a project as a team and blah blah blah. So under each experience, try to come up with with 3 good bullet points in which you're trying to kind of including a few achievements relevant to the job position you're looking for in the context of a project with measurable outcome. Like here, if you say, I have a very strong teamwork ability, people would say, okay, but how you understood that you're good at that? But if you say, I was an active member of 5 engineer team to design blah 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 that won this award in Z conference or received very well from the customer, so this means a lot. You're working as a team. You started a project from the scratch and wrapped it up, and you were great because you received an award or received very well from the customer. So a measurable outcome is there as well. That's a better way of introducing yourself or introducing your ability as a team member here. Now, I emphasize too much on the teamwork, but I mean, don't need to, in all these bullet points, you don't need to mention again and again and again that you work as a team member. No, but try to include this teamwork reasonably in your resume. Now, the next thing about a resume is, how does a resume match a job description? Okay, that's a question. A resume matches a job description where it clearly demonstrates that you have the skills, experience, and achievements that the employer is asking for. Recruiters or ATS software look for alignment in language, structure, and relevance. That's the key point here, okay? So think of the job description as the employer's wish list, okay? It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have all those capabilities they listed in their wish list, but try to show them reasonably that you are very close, okay? So the job description includes a job title and responsibilities, and then it would include a required skill or qualifications. It would include preferred skills. Sometimes they have these headings as well, so they easily guide you on what is very important for them, required skills and qualifications, what is preferred. preferred skills, meaning it is nice to have, sorry, but it is not extremely important. And then experience level and industry knowledge. Sometimes people don't care. They just send out the resume without reading the job description. In the job description, they are looking for a senior engineer. A university student came out of school last month, send a resume for that position. It doesn't make any sense. They're looking for someone with, like, for example, 5 years experience in the industry. So you don't have to apply for this kind of position, okay? Experience level is important. So, like I said, think of this job description as a blueprint for what your resume should highlight. Meaning, when a recruiter or when a technical team member read your resume, they should kind of uh, come up with this conclusion that, okay, looks like it matches perfectly well with whatever we listed here in our wish list. Okay, so think of job description as the employer wish list and your resume as an evidence that you are perfectly matching with their wish list. Okay, so your resume should reflect the job description first by matching the keywords, using the terms employer used. And it is important. If, for example, if they said we're looking for someone with project management, for project management, then use that word instead of saying I'm familiar with managing a project. The reason is, if a recruiter scans your resume very quickly, most likely they can easily find this project management in your resume and say, okay, take this one uh, and as something which aligns with the job description. But if you say manage project, the recruiters may not understand it, may not find it in the very quick scan. Okay, so you won't get the credit for this one. ATS may find it, but recruiter may not find it in the scan. Okay, so try to use the same wording from the job description. Don't be shy of borrowing words from the job description. Okay. So first, matching the keywords. Then you have to show measurable results. Use metrics like I worked as a salesperson, for example, and I increased the sales by 20%. And instead of just saying that responsible for sale, I was working as I was working as an engineer uh, on this project uh, for design, like I said, I mean previously, on designing this equipment. Okay, it is like saying that I was responsible for sale. I was responsible for design the project. But what happened? It doesn't necessarily it shouldn't necessarily be like this. I mean, increase sale by 20%. For sometimes for engineering project, you won't be able to come up with these kind of numbers, but outcome is not necessarily a number. Outcome could be like, I completed the project on time and the customer was, like, for example, very happy by that. Very simple, but it means a lot that you understand that the customer is first as a designer, as an engineer. Okay. Now, you have to highlight relevant experience. So focus on tasks and achievements that mirror the job requirement. And this is another problem in your resume. As a student, people try to just prepare a list of achievements and awards and whatever in their resume. Resume is not a list of whatever you did, whatever you achieved. No, it is not. Resume is an evidence to prove yourself as a good candidate for this job description. Meaning, for example, I myself, I was uh, I was a mechanical engineer. I worked on, I was limited to mechanical engineering, my bachelor and my master and my PhD. And then in my PhD, the project field I was working on was something between mechanical engineering and polymer. And then for for a postdoctoral research, I decided to work on a system, or let's say on a device for biomedical engineering. Okay. Now, when I was applying for positions, I wanted to apply for this position, the company I'm working on, uh, for a different position at the same company, in fact. And then I included everything in my resume, including something related to biomedical engineering. Think of a resume sent to a company worked on nuclear industry in which the applicants say, I have some good experience in biomedical engineering. Isn't awkward? It it is nonsense, right? So you don't have to list everything in your resume. Rather, you have to focus on everything related to the job description in your resume. Ignore whatever not related. Like, for example, the next round, when I was applying for other positions, I thought, okay, if I'm applying for a position in a company worked on designing nuclear power plants, I cannot ignore the entire postdoc research. But in my postdoc research, I try to focus more on managing a team of, like, for example, I worked on a project in which I managed a team of 11 different researchers, blah blah blah. So management skills, some soft skills. So if you work on something that you want to mention in your resume, which is not related necessarily very related to the job description, you can focus on those experiences for your soft skills. Okay, I mentioned there would be some soft skills in your uh, job description. Focus on those soft skills uh, on the parts of your resume that are not very related to that job description. Let's move forward faster. So, how does a resume match a job description? First, the steps to make your resume match is you have to first read the job posting very carefully. Read the job description very carefully, highlight key skills. Again, both hard skills and soft skills. For hard skill, it is pretty easy, right? They ask you for the requirement, they would ask you to they would expect you to be able to work with this software, to be able to work with this equipment, with this you have to be familiar with this tools. So are pretty easy, right? Those skills, like for example, if they ask you to, if they expect you to work with Excel, then Excel is a keyword. Ignore the entire sentence, but Excel is a keyword. If they're expecting you to perform finite element analysis with ANSYS, ANSYS is a keyword, or finite element could be a keyword here as well, right? So don't uh, uh, select the entire wording, don't select the entire sentence, rather just select that software, okay? And then there would be some softer skills as well. Like for example, they would say teamwork. In somewhere in the job description, they try to let you know that they want you to be a good team member. They want you to be well organized. They they want you to be uh, uh, not arrogant, right? So try to find those hard skills and soft skills, and then the qualifications they're looking for and the responsibilities they're looking for. So read the job description, look for these items in the job description, highlight them for yourself, and then tailor your resume. And again, don't use the same version for every application, meaning you can have, let's say, main resume in which you list everything you have in that resume. And then for each job description, read the job description, highlight whatever needed, and then tailor that main resume for that job description regarding these findings in the job description. Okay, so you have to tailor the resume, make it make it a good match by matching these keywords, and send that tailored resume to the company rather than sending your main resume. Okay, so in this case, you can see that for each uh, position, you have to prepare a separate resume and send that resume, that specific resume, to the job description. And this is this is against the common practice among applicants. They try to send their resume to 50 different positions each night, and then very quickly they get frustrated because they don't receive any call. This is the case. They come up with one single resume which includes everything, and then send that resume to all different for all those positions. They expect the HR, they expect the recruiters find whatever they want from their resume. No, it is not the case. You have to show them here that you are a match. You don't have too much extra thing here. That's important too. Sometimes you kind of tailor your resume based on whatever you found, and then you say, okay, now I have a little bit room here in my resume. Let's add more and more thing to show them that, okay, not only I have whatever you asked, but also I have much more on my plate. It is not a good idea. It is not a good idea. I was uh, uh, I was in a technical interview with a company, I mean, with Intel, and the first impression one of those guy shared with me was, your resume looks very good, but there are a lot of things here that I don't understand. I am not familiar with, and it is not a positive thing. You need to show them that all my work experience was very close to what you're looking for. If you show them that I had some experience here, but a lot more in other industries, don't believe that it is a good idea. No, it is not a good sign. So focus on whatever they ask. Now place keywords naturally in summary, the professional summary, or headline, or skill section, or job experience bullets. Place keywords naturally. Don't just in your skill section, don't just say, okay, good team member. No, it is not a good idea to say that I'm a good team member. No, you have to, in a good job experience bullet point, you have to show that, okay, I worked as a team member, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So place keywords naturally in your resume, and keep in mind that mirror the job description language. Like if it says stakeholder management, use that exact phrase rather than managing all parties. Okay. Like I said, don't be shy to borrow exact wordings from the job description. Again, this is a bad understanding. People believe that, I mean, it would be bad if they use the same wordings from the job description. No, it is not the case. It is, in fact, a very wise decision. And then prioritize relevant details. Meaning, if you go to the job description, if you go to your highlights, you can understand that some of those are very important to them. Some of them are not as important. So push the most relevant, important skill roles to the top. If you're listing, for example, 3 bullet points under a job description, under a job experience, try to add the most important skills in the first bullet point rather than the third one. Because there is a chance that the recruiter just read the first bullet point, and then if he or she doesn't find most of the skills that they're looking for, ignore the second and the third one. Okay. So prioritize the relevant details. Okay. Now, here is a quick example on how to include keywords in the text. A job description asks for data analysis with Excel. So as you can see, it is a harder skill. A project manager experience, it is a harder skill. A strong communication, it is a softer skill. These are, I borrowed these from a job description. Okay. So I highlighted the important keywords and now I want to use them in my resume. Okay. Now here is a good resume bullet point. Managed cross-functional projects while conducting data analysis in Excel, delivering insights that improve team efficiency by 15% and presenting findings to stakeholders, right? So I have this data analysis with Excel. I have project management. It was better if I use project management, the same wording, but if you cannot come up with a good wording, you can just change it a little bit, manage project. So I have project management here and a strong communication. If you just say, I have a good, strong communication skill, it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes for soft skill, you have to put it in a context, like presenting findings to stakeholders, presenting my findings in a seminar, in a conference. Okay. This is a good communication. This represents a good communication skills. Again, for softer skills, sometimes you may need to come up with a good context rather than just using this word. So this way you'll hit all three keywords in the context of a successful project you worked on. You're you're uh, you're showing here that you had some good project management skills. Well, you have this skill of working with Excel for data analysis, and you have this communication skills, and then you were able to successfully work on a project with some measurable outcome and everything. So this kind of wording would be perfect instead of just listing these things as skills. Okay. And the last thing here is, like I said, quality of resume matters, not the number of applications. Again, for the third time, don't sit under your computer and send out your resume to uh, many different positions each night. It won't work, and you'll be frustrated. Just tailor your resume each night. Tailor your resume for one single position and apply for that position. That works much better. Now, this chat GPT can help you on that. You can say, please analyze my resume against a specific job posting and show me where they match and where I could adjust. What you can do is, like I said, you can come up with a big resume which includes everything related to you. And then when you find the job posting, go to ChatGPT, upload your resume, and then give the link of that job posting to ChatGPT, and then use this prompt. Please analyze my resume against this specific job posting and show me where they match and where I could adjust. Okay, and then it work on your resume and give you some idea how to make your resume a better match for that job posting. Again, it is a very useful tool, but it doesn't replace uh, your responsibility. You have to be able to uh, find the keywords and make your resume a good match yourself. What I would do is I would do it myself, and then I would upload my tailored resume in ChatGPT, ask them for some uh, some final polishing stuff rather than uploading my big resume and ask them to make the entire job. Okay. So, but this is a very useful tool now. We have a lot more. Unfortunately, we are not able to complete the rest for today. I would continue um, the rest of the discussions next meeting. Yeah, from financial expectation. We'll work on it the next meeting. Again, please let the team know if you want to have if you want me to have a kind of summary of LinkedIn stuff. Otherwise, we'll ignore that part in the next session. Thank you all for joining. Hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, thank you all for joining us today. We hope you're living with new tools and motivations to advance your job search journey. A heartfelt thank you to Dr. Hamed Vahabi for sharing his expertise with you. At the Canadian Helpers Society, we're committed to supporting newcomer women through accessible learning opportunities. Thanks to the Corporation of the City of the Kitchener for making this possible. Please stay in touch for more sessions and we wish you success in your employment goals. Thank you again for being part of today's program. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.